I think what drove me into chassis systems was coming from a background of hunting and wanting to hunt well and do ethical shots. I spent a lot of time practicing and wanted to be able to make those shots precise and specific, and I didn't want misses. And the more I practiced and worked out to longer ranges, I found that the need for something to make my rifle more accurate was important. I appreciate MDT Chassis Systems for their variety. They have very lightweight to very heavyweight chassis systems and everything in between. And that's nice for people who are looking for different configurations for different purposes. Certainly because I came from the hunting side, I was looking for something that was light, but that would increase my accuracy and performance of my rifle. The purpose of this review is to show you some of my builds and their practical uses. I'll include some of the accessories I have so you understand the overall package or picture of the gun. But the performance of the chassis and the use, the long-range shooting, hunting for sure, and the purpose there. And I think certainly the chassis I have are a good intro into the world of competition, although I don't have the ones that probably are the most used or would be most excellent for competition shooting. So I'll be reviewing the ESS, the LSS XL Gen 2, and the TAC 21. To me, the ESS is a multi-purpose. I think it's kind of one of my favorites in some ways. It's a relatively new generation of their chassis systems. To me, the ESS is multi-purpose in that it can cross over from hunting to competition and long-range shooting very easily. Part of it is because of its capacity to configure. The forend has, I don't know how many different options, certainly 3 different lengths, but anything, you can have it in carbon fiber, you can also have it in aluminum. So, and at those various different lengths. So the nice thing is you can configure it for what you're using it for. And so I have some builds that are built to be light with the carbon fiber, 15-inch forend, and to trim it right down to provide a package that I can carry all day, but I know is on a stable platform that I can take really long shots. It's also a great chassis system that you can weight it down, you can add weights on, and you can use it in competition. And so it serves, in my mind, a lot of different purposes, and that's what really draws me to the ESS chassis system. This ESS chassis system is an 18-inch forend, and it has a 6.5 Creedmoor in a Tikka T3X. This gun I put together as a crossover, something that I'll use in competition, but I'll also use in shooting applications as well as hunting. Certainly small game, but you probably could even do large game at close ranges. I've done a lighter build in a 7 rem. I wanted a heavier hitting rifle for hunting, but built in a lighter chassis system. So again, I went with the ESS. I really like that chassis system. I think it's a good crossover. This particular one, I went with the carbon fiber forend just to lighten it up. And I carried this a lot of miles last year through the bush and in open country, and it worked well. It was easy enough for me to carry, and yet I knew it would work on whatever size of animal that I needed to take. A recent build I did is a lot of fun. It's in 223, And just because ammunition can be found a lot cheaper, it's something you can throw a lot of rounds downrange. I ended up going in the LSS XL Gen 2, and this gets a lot of use. A lot of my friends love shooting this. Will certainly shoot at longer distances, but it's a great gun for versatility, for kind of a running gunning kind of application. I use it for a lot of instruction for people who are wanting to improve their hunting skills. It's something that you can slam a lot of ammunition downrange and get them into various positions: prone, kneeling, sitting, using objects like trees or different things to lean against and practice their shots to get them ready to do better shooting come hunting season. And the 223 is, I think, a great training tool in an MDT chassis, but I also think it's just a lot of fun. Running drills, competing with each other, timing yourselves, seeing who can do better at what shots, etc. So it's a lot of fun and a joy to shoot, obviously, because of virtually no recoil in this little system here. And I think, the LSS XL Gen 2, I really like the improvement of the Gen 2 and some of the changes that they've made there. I think it's a nice chassis system. Certainly it's light. It's something that I would consider throwing 708 into, or a 308, and it'd just be a great packing rifle for hunting and using for probably most game out there. And it's probably one of the most versatile and ideal chassis systems, I think, for the hunting application, to replace your standard hunting stock. I have a night vision hood on this particular one. It requires then a higher rail or scope base rail for mounting to elevate the scope, but it works, and MDT provides then the higher version as well, so you have a low rail or a taller rail if you need that. Two of my rifles I've built on the TAC 21 system. They're a heavier chassis system, and weight equals lower recoil, obviously, and therefore it moves me to use them for Magnum rifles, where I end up having more recoil that I'm trying to control. So 300 and 7 rem certainly are good fits for that. So in the long action, I have my 7 rem, and in the short action, I've gone with a 300 short. And they're good performers in this kind of a chassis system. I find that they help to mitigate that recoil and make it easy to shoot. Both these rifles I've been able to get certainly half MOA or better, probably even down to 0.2 MOA. I've shot both of these and had targets at about 4 inch at 1,000 yards. I have one target where I've got less than 1 inch at 500 yards in my 7 rem, and these are with hand loads, so 162 grain AMAX and 79, 77 IMR powders. Definitely these chassis systems are, in my mind, set up for longer range shooting. They're stable, they're heavy. I think these chassis could be used for hunting applications. I think they'd be a heavy carry if you were out hiking all day. Both these chassis weigh in around 15-ish plus minus pounds, and so they're a little more stout of a carry. But if your situation is such that that either doesn't bother you, or you are maybe in a vehicle a lot, but you're required to take longer shots at large animals, and you need that energy at longer distances, and so it drives you to a magnum caliber. Then I think these chassis systems are a good fit. I've had young shooters shoot these as well, young teenager kids, and they just love them. Even though they're a magnum round, they can handle the recoil, and it doesn't bother them at all. I really like MDT's scope base. For one, it's probably the most affordable on the market, but it mounts well, and it comes in a 20 MOA rail, which for any long distance shooting is pretty much a go-to. You hit it, right?
You got it, buddy.
You hit it, dude.
There
you go. High five.
High five.
You hit
Wow. That's unbelievable.